How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just wanted to come on here for a while and give him a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's special event, Fyter Fest Night 1. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match 1, it was Jon Moxley versus Carl Anderson for the IWGP United States title. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Jon Moxley went over and retained the IWGP United States title with the paradigm shift. Match 2, it was... Match 2, it was Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage for the FTW title. That was a great match. But the ending to it, Ricky Starks went over and won the FTW title with the spear. Match 3, it was Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Christian Cage went over with the kill switch. Well, after the match, the rest of the Hardy family office, which are Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, and Angelico, came out to try to sneak attack Christian Cage, but the Jurassic Express, which are Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, came out to even the odds. Well, Matt Hardy and the rest of the Hardy family office, which are Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, and Angelico, retreated, and Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express stood tall. That was cool. Match 4, it was Sammy Guevara versus Wheeler Yuta. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Sammy Guevara went over with the GTH. Match 5, it was Yuka Sakazaki versus Penelope Ford. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Yuka Sakazaki went over with the Magical Girl Splash. And match 6, which was the main event, it was Darby Allin versus Ethan Page in a Coffin match. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Darby Allin went over because Darby Allin knocked Ethan Page in the casket and shut the coffin door. But after the match, Darby Allin executed the coffin drop on top of the casket with Ethan Page in it, which that was cool. Now, besides the matches, Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts cut a promo. Jake the Snake Roberts was going on about how people have been criticizing him and everything, and Lance Archer cut Jake the Snake Roberts off, and Lance Archer was talking about how Jon Moxley beat him in a death match in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the IWGP United States title, and talked about beating Kenta Kobashi, Yuji Nagata, and Carl Anderson for successfully defending the IWGP United States title against them three. And Lance Archer was talking about how Lance Archer was talking about how Jon Moxley just got out of a hell of a match with Carl Anderson for the IWGP United States title and everything, and Lance Archer issued a challenge to Jon Moxley in a Texas death match for the IWGP United States title next week on Fyter Fest Night 2. Which that was cool. Alex Abrahantes interviewed Andrade El Idolo. Alex Abrahantes was pretty much asking Andrade El Idolo about his victory against Matt Sydal and everything, and Andrade El Idolo was asking Alex Abrahantes where the Death Triangle, which are Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta El Cerro Miedo are, because he wants them. Well, Alex Abrahantes didn't answer that, so Andrade El Idolo left, which that was cool. Cody Rhodes came out to the ring and cut a promo talking about how Malachi Black was disrespectful last week when he attacked Arn Anderson and then cheap shotted him and everything. And Cody Rhodes was talking about how he wanted to kick Malachi Black's ass. And, well, the lights went out and Malachi Black appeared on the Titantron, and Malachi Black was talking about how last week the fans cheered when he attacked Cody Rhodes with the black mass, and how the fans don't give a shit about Cody Rhodes like Cody Rhodes gives a shit about them. And Malachi Black was talking more shit towards Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes was talking about how, well, Cody Rhodes was going on talking shit to Malachi Black, saying he wanted to kick his ass right here, right now, and Malachi Black said that he was hoping he'd say that, and so the lights went out again. Malachi Black teleported to the ring, and Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black got into a brawl and were beating the shit out of each other, and the referees and the coaches had to break it up, which that was cool. Alex Marvez interviewed Tully Blanchard, and Alex Marvez was asking Tully Blanchard about last week on AEW Dynamite, Road Rager, when the Pinnacle beat the Inner Circle, and why Tully Blanchard cheap-shotted Conan. And Tully Blanchard was pretty much saying that he didn't cheap-shot Conan, and talked about how he kicked his ass and everything, and Proud and Powerful, which are Santana and Ortiz, appeared, and Proud and Powerful were pretty much telling Tully Blanchard that Tully Blanchard was a wannabe tough guy because he had, and was saying that he had balls to show up alone and everything, and Ortiz grabbed Tully Blanchard and held him down, and Santana had a lead pipe and was getting ready to attack Tully Blanchard, but instead didn't, and Santana was saying that Santana was telling Tully Blanchard that was fake, but next time it won't be, and Santana was saying that him and Ortiz were taught to respect their elders, of why he didn't go ahead and attack Tully Blanchard, and Santana was telling Tully Blanchard to get his boys and everything, and Tully Blanchard was saying, well, you just wait, because I will get my boys and everything, which that was cool. Tony Chavanni interviewed Hangman Page, and Tony Chavanni was asking Hangman Page his status of challenging for the AEW title, challenging Kenny Omega for the AEW title and everything, and Hangman Page was talking about since day one he's always wanted to be the AEW champion, but he's been running from it and everything, and Hangman Page was talking about how Tony Schiavone interviewed Hangman Page, and Tony Schiavone was talking about how was pretty much asking Hangman Page his status of challenging Kenny Omega for the AEW title. Well, Hangman Page was pretty much saying that that since day one he's always wanted to be the AEW champion, but he's been running from it and everything, and was saying that the Dark Order, which are Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, 5, 10, and Colt Cabana were right that he needs to step up and challenge Kenny Omega for the AEW title and everything, and Hangman Page was getting ready to issue the challenge to Kenny Omega, but the Elite, which are Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, Brandon Cutler, and Don Callis came out, and Don Callis interrupted Hangman Page and Don Callis was saying to Hangman Page that he wasn't going to do shit because just like the city of Austin, Texas, he was a piece of shit and everything, and Don Callis was going on talking more shit towards Hangman Page, and then Nick Jackson was saying that the Cowboy's going to go down. Doc Gallows was saying that the Cowboy was going to go down, and Matt Jackson got the microphone and was saying that he was going to go in the ring and say whatever he was going to say towards Hangman Page's face. Well, Matt Jackson got in the ring with the rest, while the rest of the Elite surrounded the ring, and Matt Jackson was pretty much saying to Hangman Page that he's still that he's still been drinking out of the bottle and everything, and was pretty much asking Hangman Page if he remembered his best friends that he abandoned and everything, and Matt Jackson was pretty much saying that Matt Jackson was pretty much telling Hangman Page that he was gonna that Matt Jackson was pretty much telling Hangman Page that he was Matt Jackson was pretty much telling Hangman Page, pretty much calling him a sad, lonely piece of shit, cowboy and everything, and Matt Jackson was talking more shit towards Hangman Page, and Matt Jackson dared Hangman Page to punch him in the face, and so Hangman Page obliged and punched Matt Jackson in the face, and then Nick Jackson tried to get in the ring, but Hangman Page attacked Nick Jackson with a punch in the face. Brandon Cutler tried to get in the ring, but Hangman Page attacked Brandon Cutler with a punch in the face. Well, Kenny Omega got in the ring with the AEW title and tried to attack Hangman Page, but the Dark Order, which are Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, 5, 10, and Colt Cabana, all came out to even the odds. Well, Hangman Page and the Dark Order stood tall in the ring while the Elite were outside of the ring, and Kenny Omega got the microphone and was talking shit towards Hangman Page and everything, and Kenny Omega was saying to Hangman Page that he wasn't worth it and everything, and that he was a worthless piece of shit and everything, and Hangman Page was going on about how he wanted to challenge Kenny Omega for the AEW title. Well, Kenny Omega obliged to it, but Kenny Omega made a suggestion that it be the Elite, which are Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson versus the Dark Order. Versus Hangman Page and the Dark Order, which are Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. And in a 5-on-5 elimination match. And Hangman Page agreed to it. But, well, Kenny Omega got in the ring and Hangman Page, well, before Kenny Omega got in the ring, Hangman Page added a stipulation to it that if him and the Dark Order win, he gets a shot at Kenny Omega for the AEW title, and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson of the Dark Order get a shot at the Young Bucks, which are Matt and Nick Jackson, for the AEW tag team titles. Well, Kenny Omega was pretty much saying to Hangman Page that the Dark Order haven't earned a shot at the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles, but Kenny Omega agreed to that stipulation. Well, Kenny Omega got in the ring, and Kenny Omega added a stipulation of his own that if the Elite beat Hangman Page and the Dark Order, then Hangman Page will not get Kenny Omega for the AEW title, and the Dark Order will not get the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles. Well, Hangman Page agreed to that, and Kenny Omega got out of the ring, and Hangman Page was pretty much agreed to Kenny Omega's proposition, just like Kenny Omega agreed to Hangman Page's proposition. And Hangman Page was pretty much telling Kenny Omega and the rest of the Elite that that the Dark Order don't back down from a fight and everything. Which all that was cool. Well, and then Hangman Page and the Dark Order and also the Elite were staring each other down and everything. That was cool. Alex Marvez interviewed Chris Jericho, and Alex Marvez was pretty much asking Chris Jericho about MJF adding the stipulations and opponents in order to get a match against MJF sometime down the road and everything. And Chris Jericho was pretty much saying to Alex Marvez that he didn't care he was saying that MJF was an intelligent man and that he uses Greek mythology to get his way and everything. And Chris Jericho was pretty much saying that he didn't care who MJF threw at him. Like, he don't care who... Chris Jericho was pretty much saying that he didn't care who MJF... Like who MJF was going to throw at him, and didn't care what stipulations MJF adds, that he was going to kick whoever MJF throws at him's ass and everything. And then Shawn Spears appeared and attacked Chris Jericho in the throat with a steel chair, and Shawn Spears held Chris Jericho down, and MJF appeared, and MJF was talking shit towards Chris Jericho and was saying, "Chris, it's so great to see you since the last time you cheap-shotted me, and I'm glad you asked about your opponent and your stipulation. Well, next week, you will be facing my good friend here, and you will be facing my good friend Shawn Spears here, and the stipulation to that match is Shawn Spears can use a steel chair, but you can't." Well, Shawn Spears let go of Chris Jericho, and MJF got Chris Jericho's arm and held it down, and Shawn Spears attacked Chris Jericho's arm with a steel chair and everything. Well, MJF and Shawn Spears left while Chris Jericho was still laid out and everything, which that was cool. Miro cut a promo pretty much talking about how he's the Redeemer and how he's God's favorite champion and how he was lost when he first came to AEW because he was living under Kip Sabian's shadow and everything, and talked about how since he's been the AEW TNT champion, he found himself and everything, and talked about how he was an unstoppable champion and he was going to kick anybody's ass who gets in his way and everything, which that was cool. Tony Schiavone interviewed Britt Baker, and Tony Schiavone was asking Britt Baker about her AEW Women's title match against Nyla Rose next week on AEW Dynamite's Fyter Fest Night 2. Well, Britt Baker was pretty much saying that yeah, Nyla Rose has beat her a few times, but she's not going to beat her this time because she's going to kick Nyla Rose's ass, and Nyla Rose is wanting the AEW Women's title to stay relevant and everything, and Britt Baker was saying that next week she was going to overcome Nyla Rose and beat her ass and retain the AEW Women's title and everything because she's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And then, well, Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero were backstage, and, you know, the whole time, and Vicky Guerrero was going off saying how Nyla Rose was going to demolish Britt Baker and everything and win the AEW Women's title and everything, and Nyla Rose was going on about how she was going to severely hurt Britt Baker and how she wasn't going to be responsible for it and how she was going to take the AEW Women's title from Britt Baker and everything, which that was cool. Jon Moxley cut a promo talking about how he's beaten Lance Archer at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 2020 in a Texas death match for the IWGP United States title, and talked about how he beat him on AEW Dynamite in Jacksonville, Florida for the AEW title and everything, and Jon Moxley was pretty much going on about how he was going to beat Lance Archer again for the IWGP United States title in a Texas death match on Fyter Fest Night 2 and everything. So Jon Moxley accepted Lance Archer's challenge, which that was cool. Tony Schiavone interviewed The Factory, which are QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Nick Comoroto, and Tony Schiavone was asking QT Marshall about his South Beach strap match against Cody Rhodes last week, and QT Marshall got a smart-ass attitude with Tony Schiavone and was pretty much saying that, saying to Tony Schiavone, "What's with the attitude, Tony?" And QT Marshall was saying how Tony Schiavone was going to ask him about getting buried with the golden shovel by Cody Rhodes and everything, but Tony Schiavone wasn't going to ask that and everything. Well, QT Marshall had Aaron Solo give him his cup of coffee, and Tony Schiavone was asking QT Marshall if he was going to pour that cup of coffee on him and everything. Well, QT Marshall lied and said that he wasn't going to do it. Well, QT Marshall poured that cup of coffee on Tony Schiavone's head, and Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto left, and Tony Schiavone was getting pissed off, and QT Marshall was asking Tony Schiavone if he was going to hit him and everything. Well, Tony Schiavone didn't hit him, and QT Marshall said, "Yeah, that's what I thought." So QT Marshall left, and Tony Schiavone was looking on all pissed off and everything, which that was cool. And AEW aired a video package of their new show on TNT called AEW Rampage, which is going to air on starting Friday, August 13th, which that was cool. Now, besides all that, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. And Taz done guest commentary along with Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur during the match between Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks for the FTW title. Taz done great on guest commentary. The referees for the event were Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Let me see. Paul Turner refereed the match between Jon Moxley versus Carl Anderson for the IWGP United States title. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage for the FTW title. Paul Turner refereed the match between Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy. Rick Knox refereed the match between Sammy Guevara versus Wheeler Yuta. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Yuka Sakazaki versus Penelope Ford, and Rick Knox and Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Darby Allin versus Ethan Page in a Coffin match. All the referees done awesome as usual. Now the match card for next week's All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's special event, Fyter Fest Night 2, it's going to be Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's title. Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears, and the stipulation to that match is Shawn Spears can use a steel chair, but Chris Jericho can't. Jon Moxley versus Lance Archer in a Texas death match for the IWGP United States title. And Orange Cassidy versus The Blade. Now, the match card for next week's All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's special event, Fyter Fest Night 2, looks like it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give my review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's special event, Fyter Fest Night 1. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road.